Olivia Chicken, 2, was born with a lymphatic malformation that crosses her facial midline, reaches back towards her ear and up to her eyelid. Medics said she was unlikely to survive childbirth, but parents Ivan and Teresa said they didn't think twice about having their miracle infant. Teresa said her daughter has endured cruel jibes from other children, but described her as a happy-go-lucky child. Affecting only 1 in every 4,000 births, lymphatic malformations produce a small mass in the head or neck after an abnormal formation of lymphatic vessels. Nine-year-old Trini was just like any other girl her age, except for the aggressive bone tumor that threatened to take over her entire face. The 2 kilograms benign tumor was blinding Trini, from Kampala, Uganda, in one eye and made eating almost impossible. Her only hope was when she was discovered by UK charity Facing the World. Her mum Sarah says that without action, her daughter would have died. Graham Banton, director of the charity, explains that Trini has a condition called fibrous dysplasia, where normal bone tissue is replaced by fibrous tissue which just keeps growing, destroying the good bone. Trini's case was one of the most shocking experts had seen. She was flown to the UK by the charity, and whereas she might have been expected to be shy and downcast about her condition and appearance, she actually proved to be a little bundle of energy, and a typical little girl. Chingrung Mero, from Kanchi in Bangladesh, was born with a rare slow-growing tumor on her nose. The lump was growing bigger and bigger until it covered half of her face, making it almost impossible for her to breathe on her own. When the baby was just 9 months old, she was taken to local hospital where she was diagnosed with a ganglioma cyst. Unfortunately, her family were unable to afford costly treatment, but thanks to a campaign launched by social worker Fabian Gomez, the girl got a chance for survival. The social media campaign was supported by Bangladeshi minister and little Chingrung was admitted to Dhaka Medical College for treatment. 17-month-old Colby Ramos Francis was born with a small, heart-shaped growth over his eyelid, but it quickly developed into a large benign tumor that continued to expand. His young parents say NHS doctors were unable to treat the growth or offer surgery, leaving them no option but to beg for help abroad. Colby has now had the tumor removed free of charge thanks to the US-based Little Baby Face Foundation. Colby was born with a condition known as hemangioma, a self-involuting tumor, swelling or growth of the endothelial cells that line blood vessels. The operation, consultation fees, flights and accommodation would have set the couple back at least £10,000 without the help of the foundation. Luwan has a birth defect known as anencephaly. It's caused a large hole to form of the front of his skull. It's filled with brain tissue and it's growing up through his nose and threatened his vision. Luwan was born with a large mass already growing up from his skull. The large mass was forcing Luwan's eyes apart and threatened to blind him. Tony Perkins is a public school teacher in St. Louis. Mr. Perkins has suffered with keloids on his neck and torso for 15 years. Although keloids are benign growths, the weight of them has caused neck pain for Tony. He had undergone several surgeries previously and noticed that the keloids would return within a few months. Mr. Perkins connected with Dr. Michael Jones, a cosmetic and reconstructive surgeon with offices in Atlanta and in New York, and has been subject to the science behind radiation treatment for keloid treatment after removal. He currently works at Roosevelt High School at the Boys and Girls After School Club, where his students look past his scars and appreciate his character and heart. Perkins discovered his very first keloid on his stomach after scrapping himself while tripping over a fence as a boy. Babul Pashi, 25, from Allahabad in India, suffers from gigantism, a disease that causes excessive growth of body tissue. His right arm is so large that it causes him pain when washing and means he can only walk for 10 minutes without taking a break. As a young man, Babul faced severe abuse in his hometown and was cruelly dubbed a devil child by his neighbors. He moved to Mumbai to seek proper treatment, but has struggled to find work in the city and continues to face prejudice on a daily basis. Babu wants to go home once his arm becomes normal so that he can live a life like others. Shahid Hussain is believed to suffer from the rare condition of neurofibromatosis, an ailment that causes non-cancerous tumors to erupt all over his body, covering him in lumps. Mr. Hussain's condition is now so severe he is in danger of losing his sight due to the tumors that are covering his face, and he is in desperate need of extensive surgery. Mr. Hussain used to have a job as a labourer but had to leave due to his worsening condition and now even struggles to perform simple everyday tasks. Ashok Shrestha, 54, from Lalitpur in Kathmandu, Nepal, suffers from neurofibromatosis, a genetic condition that causes tumors to grow along the patient's nerves. The growths, while benign, are so severe that they eclipse the entire right-hand side of his face, covering his right eye, nose and mouth. After 4 failed surgeries, Ashok has received fresh hope in the form of an offer from Dr. McKinnon at present St. Joseph's Hospital in Chicago, USA. The treatment is going to cost £25,000, while Ashok also needs an additional £5,000 to cover his travel, medication and expenses during the treatment period. Andrea Patra, 34, living in constant pain because of an enormous tumor that has grown from his face down to his stomach, is hoping for life-saving surgery. Andrea D has trouble eating and talking because of the trunk-like tumor weighing around 88 pounds. Patra suffers from severe neurofibromatosis, a genetic disorder that affects the growth and development of cell tissue. J'aime